Good evening, members of the City Council. When I woke up this morning, I was in Hammond, Indiana, in the United States of America, where freedom of speech was still a right under the Constitution. I do not condone violence, but it is not only my right to express my opinion, it is my duty to question your decisions, your actions, and your motives. I am the taxpayer, and you seem to have forgotten you work for me, the taxpayer, not the other way around. I'm sorry if citizens have said things that have upset you or you felt you were disrespected either personally or publicly. But I've been sitting here for many council meetings where council members have said and done things that show complete disrespect for the entire audience, such as holding extraneous conversations during council meetings, sorting through your mail, and getting up and walking out during council meetings and during votes. Greatness was not thrust upon you. Each of you stood on your soapbox, waved your arms, and yelled, "Pick me." Many of you have brought your personal life into it and into this chamber. You yourselves have mentioned your husbands, your wives, your aunts, and your uncles. Some of you have even circulated campaign literature with your families on it to bring them in the spotlights. You are the ones that have made this personal. You have sought to be public figures, and as such, you have to be ready to accept criticism as well as praise. This is not personal, this is business. I would suggest that as public figures, the council should toughen up, show some professionalism, sit and listen to what the public has to say, just as we sit here every council meeting and listen to you.
I don't know where to start. What I'm disturbed about is this idea of lawsuits to restrain speech. And then what about when people start suing the council here? For example, there's a councilman, if somebody sues Councilman Higgs, is he sued in his official capacity as a councilman, and therefore the city would be paying the money on some sort of constitutional violation? Or is he suing in his professional or in his personal capacity? And what's the difference? Moreover, let's go to respect. How much respect is really accorded to you guys? How much should we respect you? I don't see any standard of respect. You work for us. You're an elected official. Like Lori said, you put your hat in the ring. You know, you guys don't set the standards of what's kosher and what's not political discourse. We're talking political speech. It is well-established law that political speech is free. Don't go mixing and conflating social intercourse and discourse with political speech. If you don't like it, too bad. You don't set the standards. You don't set the standards. First Amendment law has been set for quite some time. There was a case back in the 60s where a guy burned the American flag using the F word. Court ruled that's free speech, brother. You know, I don't know where you guys, this is so weird up here. Everybody's out here giving their personal standards of what is respectful. Who cares what you think is respectful? Your standards don't control. It's not objective. It's your personal standards, what you think ought to be the case. That's all it is. It hasn't got anything legal behind it. And you're going to sit here and try to tell people what to say to you and criticize you? Granted, if they're stalking you, there might be some tort there or some defamation. Fine, sue in defamation. Sue for stalking. But don't call political speech harassing you because it criticizes you. You're out of luck.
Are you talking to the mayor, sir?
I'm talking up here, okay?
I just asked a question.
Well, you want to ask a question when you're up here, you can talk, okay? There is no respect. What kind of respect? We're going to talk here.
We have some order in here. Officer, you can get some order in here.
Everybody speak when you are asked to speak, and not let everybody else have the floor, and I will be asking you, please.
What I find also disturbing is Councilman Higgs and maybe some others, maybe Markovich, maybe some others, using these social rules or understandings of social intercourse as creating some sort of consensus of how we should speak to one another in when it comes to political speech and political criticism. It's a false consensus. You can't use regular, so when I say hi to the mayor, when I see him outside of here, and I say hi to him as a person, how you doing, mayor? Or how you doing, Bob? Whatever. You know, that's one thing. When we're talking politics, when we're talking government, That's another thing. I mean, you just can't, I'm really upset that Councilman Higgs will sit here go on for minutes and minutes and minutes about what he thinks. Respect. Who died and made you, God? Who died you and made you the ruler and the person that's going to determine what respect is? Your personal standards? Not on my time, brother. I got news for you. What I see is you're just abusing the legal process. That's all you're doing. I've had my say.
I should have signed up earlier. Nobody wants to follow Mr. Stoya. He's a very powerful, forceful speaker. Thank you. I just have a couple of observations from sitting here today, and I'm glad I attended. I hope that going forward, and that's how I try to look at this, I hope that this is a lesson for all of us going forward. I mean, obviously, there were some examples that were thrown out there that went way beyond the bounds. I mean, when there's violence committed or something like that, that's completely different than speech. And if you look at this application for protective order, the two things, Mr. Higgs made numerous comments about her complaining about his job. He works for the government during the day. He has 2 government jobs. We have a right as citizens to complain if someone who works for us in an official capacity is not properly performing their duties in that job also. So, I mean, certainly as a citizen, I have a right to complain and write a letter regarding the performance of a public employee. And that's the really troubling thing here, is that 2 of the things, and he mentions right in the petition that he's a councilman, and that the letter was written about him as a councilman to the mayor. This is extremely disturbing to me, and maybe Mr. Markovich made some really good points. I think maybe the council should have waited until after the proceedings are over, but it's just so egregious to me that, free speech is at risk, that some action has to be taken. And one other comment that I have is, Mr. Higgs demonstrated his complete lack of understanding for the First Amendment again when he commented that the council was somehow going to suppress Mr. Peterson's First Amendment rights. Mr. Peterson is speaking on behalf of Mr. Higgs. He is his attorney. He only speaks on behalf of him. Mr. Higgs had ample opportunity to say whatever he wanted. So there's no First Amendment right being suppressed here. He's acting as his agent. If he wanted him to speak on his behalf during the floor discussion, he should have said so. It's just a complete misunderstanding of the First Amendment, and I think people should see that. That's dangerous. And, I hope moving forward we don't have situations that are embarrassing to the city like this. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say, Councilman Higgs, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is watching tonight. He told me to give you the greetings, brother. He stands 1,000% with you. What I like to say is that I've been coming here probably more than 25 years. Me and the mayor have had knockout drag-outs many a times. The council president is my friend. We've had many knockout drag-outs. Dave Ham, I've been here. I've watched councilmen fight. I warned Councilman Higgs that he was being followed. I'm not going to say how I knew, but I encouraged him to take a little luxury and watch his back. He didn't watch his 6, so he had a cartoon against me. My son had to watch it. My new wife had to watch this cartoon. So I understand that politics is a full contact sport. That's the reason why I wore my shoes with the boots today, because this is the big boy club. You don't get points for second place in this game. I've provided Councilman Higgs free security. I've provided security all over the world for people. I understand, Councilman Higgs, that it's tough out here. But you stand like the lion, you take the punch like the next man. We've all been punched. I've been up against the police before. I've been arrested in this very room. I've hired some of the top attorneys in the United States to come in here and represent me. We have an arbitrary right to speak. The thing that has to happen here is that everybody got to understand, politics is a full contact sport. So when you start this war, don't come back and say, oh, I didn't mean it. The thing we have to remember is that it has to stop somewhere. What it stops is when you infringe inside of somebody's personal space, inside of the gun line. That's when get a stalking charge. That's when you can use the laws that exist in the state of Indiana. You know, there's laws in the state of Indiana that exist in no other state. So you have an arbitrary right to file what you like, Councilman Hicks. But I think, too, that people think that infringement of public speeches, it occurs here every single time I'm here. Nobody's right to speak has been stopped in this room since I've ever been here. I've seen Mervan fight. I've seen all kind of fights. Then they go to Alexander's for dinner. So in politics, you disagree. But we have to come here and you listen to it. The hard seats, it keeps you focused. That's what Charlie Darling told me many years ago. I've had, like when Mr. Markovich has things done to him during the golf course scenario, I had things done to me too. But you learn from it. You make money from it. Everybody here is here for a reason. It's politics. Just remember that. And when you step into politics, it's a full contact sport. So when you start this, just remember that it goes both sides. It's a saying that says what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The same thing that make you laugh will make you cry. So I say, Councilman Higgs, in my closing, which I knew it was coming, stand strong, brother. Be like the lion. And if you lose your teeth, you still speak, brother. And I was told to tell you to hold your post no matter what. And the full weight of Valley Casinos is with you, brother. Have a peaceful night.
That concludes our public expression. Motion to adjourn?